What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Variant Live. Yeah, we got some more Marvel stuff to talk about because this is Marvel month after all, but also they just keep releasing Marvel stuff after Marvel stuff, especially in the MCU right now. As you know, we're all still coming off the high that is Avengers Endgame, but they got some more stuff down the line. We got a brand new trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home earlier this morning. And as the title of this video says, that's exactly what I'm going to talk about here and now. And then I'm going to open it up to some questions at the end. I just got a super chat from Jack Humphreys. Did you see the trailer for Swamp Thing? Um, Thank you for the super chat, first and foremost. Thank you. We appreciate that very much. And yes, I did. I enjoyed it. I, yeah, I was gonna say I enjoyed it quite a lot, but I liked it. I did. I love how it has like that rated R like horror vibe going on. You can definitely tell it's produced by James Wan, and I'll talk about it a little bit more after. But um, yeah, I'll talk about the Swamp Thing trailer and answer that question a little more in depth after give you my trailer reaction, because again, that is the title of this episode. So with that said, what are my thoughts? Let me get rid of that. Let's got some like paper on my desk looking all messy right now. Um my thought or reaction to the Spider-Man Far From Home trailer. First of all, I think it looks awesome. I think it looks really, really good. I think, based off this because the first trailer or the teaser what was good for sure. I'm a fan of Tom Holland as Spider-Man. I think he's the best person to ever play Spider-Man live action. I am I did like Tobey Maguire though. Nostalgia, I was little when that came out. It was probably, I think I was like 10, 13 when that came out. But I do love me some Tobey Maguire, but Tom Holland just all the way around. He's freaking fantastic. Um so with that said, I think this trailer looks freaking great. It looks like it could be better than the first one. And I really did enjoy the first Spider-Man movie, Spider-Man Homecoming. Um this one though looks like when you have a successful first movie, they're like, "Oh, we can give you more money." So they turn they freaking kicked it into high gear with all the special effects and stuff like that. And it looks like Spider-Man has like I don't know, 4 costumes in this movie. He's got his normal red and blue costume. He's got the red and black costume. He's got the stealth costume, the all black costume, and then he's got his Iron Spider costume. So Spider-Man's gonna be wearing like 4 different costumes in this one movie that we know of. For all we know, they could throw in like fifth like last minute they don't show in the trailers, but that's crazy. So we're getting lots of Spidey costumes in there, which is really cool because Spider-Man has worn tons of different costumes in the comics over the years. He's got the Black Symbiote Spider-Man costume. He's got the Iron Spider costume. He's got his normal classic Spider uh, costume. He's had the silver and black armor costume. I can go on and on. He's had lots of costumes in the comics over the years. But let's break this down. Let's break it down again. This is going to be spoilers for Endgame. Before I get into it, lots and lots of spoilers for Avengers Endgame. So if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, just like the beginning of the trailer says for this new Spider-Man Homecoming or Spider-Man Far From Home trailer, rather, there's going to be spoilers galore. So again, if you haven't seen Avengers Endgame, this is your time to click away. Spoilers, 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 spoilers. Okay, now with that said, let's get into it. Okay, so the trailer starts off with Iron Man. We see Iron Man on a mural, but with Peter Parker being sad that Iron Man is dead. He's gone. That's a big spoiler at the end of Avengers Endgame. So he's all sad. They were really, really close, and he's all teary. He's talking to freaking to Happy about it. He's like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "What am I supposed to do?" He's like, he's pretty much kind of taking on the Iron Man mantle himself right now. I did get a super chat from DC Big O. So yeah, my God, with the Spider-Man trailer introducing the multiverse, I'm going to get into that. The possibilities are endless. We could be introduced to the multiverse Avengers. I think I'm about to faint. Don't trust me. I'm about to get into that. But thank you so much for the generosity in your super chat, man. We highly appreciate that. Yes. So it starts off with him basically, sad that Tony's gone, and how they're kind of alluding to like, are you going to be Iron Man now? He's like, well, I don't know. I'm too busy to be Iron Man because he's taking out all these thugs in an iron spider suit and like this restaurant or like I don't know this restaurant or place, and he's hanging them all up in webs, just like in the comic books and cartoons. And the cops are like, "Yo, so you gonna be the new Iron Man now?" He's like, "I can't, because I'm too busy doing your job." Kind of goofing around like that. He's like, "Nah, nah, but seriously, man, I'm going on vacation." Then he goes on vacation, things go awry. We see like Molten Man, we see Hydra Man, because if you don't know, that was confirmed via Lego sets. Because toys always confirm that stuff. It's not a spoiler again. The Lego sets are already like in stores and all that stuff. And they say that those big monsters with fire and the water, that's Molten Man and that's Hydra Man, which is really, really cool. Because Molten Man and Hydra Man, they're like, I guess, DC list villains, but they're still freaking dope nonetheless. Especially Hydra Man. I've been a fan of Hydra Man. Marvel Legends is actually releasing an action figure of him later this year. I've always liked Hydra Man, mainly because of his appearance in Spider-Man, the animated series from the '90s. Anyway, he's in this movie. So things are going awry in Europe, London, whatever, the UK, and Nick Fury's trying to contact him this all through this whole time, and he's been ghosting him as Happy says. He's like, "You can't be ghosting Nick Fury," because he calls him, and Peter's like, "I don't want to talk to him." Like freaking screens his phone call. So you can't do that. And eventually Nick Fury catches up to him because he's Nick Fury, and he's like, "Yo, we need your help." He's like, "Yo, but what about Captain Marvel? What about Thor? Like, they're busy off planet. We need you." He's like, "I'm just your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man." He's like, "Dude, you went to space." Like, we talking about friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. We were fighting in space. Um, anyway, this is where he gets in. We get introduced, and Peter gets introduced to Mysterio, and we find out that this Mysterio, apparently, this Mysterio in this movie is from a different Earth. That's why he's working with Shield and Spider-Man as a good guy, because he's from a different Earth, meaning the multiverse. Because Peter even says, he goes, "Another Earth? What do you mean, like multiverse?" So that's right, guys. They are introducing, or we think they're introducing, the multiverse in this movie. I say think because Mysterio, Jake Gyllenhaal's character, could be lying. He could be, that could totally be true. Even though Fury did say in the trailer that, he's from another Earth, I would go out to venture that Fury's just not going to believe this like freaking guy on his word. He would put a little bit of research into it, to see if everything checks out. But again, Mysterio is all about illusions and tricks and all that stuff. So he could have faked all that stuff and, lined up put all his ducks in a row. So when Fury did a back check, that all lines up, and he even tricked Shield and Nick Fury. That's totally plausible. So I don't know whether I believe him or not. I think I want to believe him though, because the multiverse, dude, with the that's the biggest takeaway from this new trailer for Spider-Man Far From Home. It's just the multiverse, because they hinted. The reason why I leaning towards I believe it is because they hinted towards it. They pretty much flat out said it in Avengers Endgame, when Bruce Banner is trying to take the time stone from the Ancient One on the roof in New York, on the New York Sanctum, and he tries to take it. She's like, "Look, you can't do that. You can't go back in time and do that, because if you do all this stuff, it's gonna freaking mess up timelines." And she draws it out with her like mystical powers. And she says, "Look, you do this, and it makes different timelines, and now you have like alternate realities, meaning different Earths, different worlds." So that's, what messed up everything essentially. So when they took all the time stones in Endgame, and Tony, again, spoilers, Tony did the snap to correct everything, that freaking messed up all the timelines, like the Ancient One said. So what she said, she flat out told Bruce Banner, the Hulk, she's like, "Yo, if you do this is going to happen." He did the snap, and Fury says in the trailer that, hey, when the snap happened, it freaking created other worlds and Earth, stuff like that. So that's where Mysterio comes from. So I think, if it was an Endgame, they're talking about in here, they're saying it so many times. So I'm going to venture and believe that's true, which also makes sense, because I was a little annoyed that Mysterio was like working with Shield and Spider-Man as a good guy, because that's one of Spider-Man's like, he's from the original OG Sinister Six. That's one of Spider-Man's OG villains, one of my favorite villains, because again, I'm all about like the legacy stuff and like OG characters. I love, the Cravens, the Electro, the Green Goblin, Dr. Octopus, Mysterio, like those guys, the Rhino, those guys are freaking awesome. So some of my favorite Spider-Man villains. So I was a little annoyed that I was like, "Was you making him a good guy?" It's the MCU, it's always different and all that stuff. You do whatever you want, but whatever. But him being from a different Earth, like that's awesome, because that's how it is in the comic book. So if you're from another Earth, it's like the Elseworlds effect, where you could do anything now. You could have like a Batman that's Thomas Wayne, for instance. You could have a Mysterio that's good in this instance. You can do whatever you want when you do the multiverse, because you can just be like, "Oh, he's from a different Earth, that's why he's different." And then the Mysterio that's on that that Earth would be the bad one. So what if we had like two Mysterios? I don't know. Possibilities are endless, but that's the biggest takeaway from this trailer. Other cool things in the trailer is just action, action, action. Freaking Jake Gyllenhaal looks great as Mysterio. I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal is like a fantastic actor all the way around, no matter how you slice it. He's just great. Very smart of him to join the MCU because that's that retirement money. You'd be going to cons getting paid $300K a weekend just to sign autographs because he was Mysterio in one movie years ago. But yeah, I think he looks great. Tom Holland also is fantastic as Spider-Man as always. It looks hilarious in this. His whole thing with MJ in the trailer looks really, really cool, where apparently she knows that he is Spider-Man. I don't know if the trailer is just edited that way to make us believe that, and it's actually a joke at the end of that bit, which she's probably like, oh, I'm just kidding. Like, editing could make us believe that she does know and that's actually her joking. I don't know. We'll find out. Nick Fury, Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson has to have been in like the most freaking ever like MCU movies. Like I know like Robert Downey Jr. has been in like 9 MCU movies. If you're not counting cameos, if you're counting cameos, it's over 9. But freaking, I mean, Samuel Jackson. Can we just talk about how Samuel Jackson is pretty not forget the MCU? He's like in every movie ever. Like I feel like every time like they announce a movie, there's like a 50% chance Samuel L. Jackson will be in it, which I'm fine with because I love me some Samuel L. Jackson. It's just funny. It's like that guy loves working and doing movies. So yeah, it's very funny. Let's see, we got another super chat here from JJ Manuel. He says, Mysterio's Earth I guess what you're trying to say is Mysterio's Earth was created because of Endgame. Yes, that's apparently what the trailer would lead us to believe, because Samuel Jackson, Nick Fury, says in the trailer that when the snap happened, it created a multiverse of different Earths. The snap like ruined things. So very well, yes, that is that seems to be the case, but we will have to figure out what that's all about when we actually watch the movie. So yeah. What else did I like about the trailer? Because the multiverse thing is just so cool. I want to keep ranting, but guys, like the multiverse thing, because literally when I first watched it, I was like, oh, the multiverse, I knew it. Because the ancient, again, going back to what I just said, the ancient one said it and she explained it to freaking Bruce Banner in Avengers Endgame and like drew it out with her powers. Like, look, here's the timeline. If you do this, you're gonna fracture and create, other timelines. And that's apparently what happened. And you could do anything because now you could bring, another Iron Man in and he could look completely different and it doesn't matter because it's a different Earth. So, there's like your creativity is the limit with this stuff. You could bring on a new Hulk, an actual like strong Hulk that's not getting punked out like this Hulk we've been getting. I'm sorry, but I've been complaining about it for a while. But this the Hulk in the MCU as of like after Age of Ultron, it seemed like the Hulk just got like the shaft all the time as far as like his strength and power. It's like the Hulk's like tagline in comics and like just everyone pretty much knows, even in the shows and stuff like that, is Hulk is the strongest there is, right? Because matter gets the stronger he gets. Yet after like Age of Ultron, we didn't really see any of that. Like, I mean, Thor beat him in Ragnarok. He got punked out by Thanos like in freaking seconds. In Endgame, he was basically just the brains and like regenerating his healing factor was crap because after the thing with the gauntlet, even at the funeral, like days or whatever later, his arm still hadn't healed and it's in a sling. It's like, are you kidding me? This is a freaking incredible Hulk. Okay, in the comics, this guy has been like disintegrated by, I believe, like Vector to down to like flesh and bones, and literally regenerated and healed within like seconds to minutes. And you're gonna have this guy be in a sling like days after? Come on, man. Come on. And I get it that like Thanos, you could argue that Thanos and stuff would be a match for him and stuff like that, but like not that quick. Come on, just it's the Hulk. And my only big gripe with Avengers Endgame too is that he had no redemption moment, like at all. Like he didn't get any hits in on Thanos, and I'm like, come on, man, come on, you're really just gonna punk the Hulk like that? Come on, that ain't cool. um. So yeah, this trailer looks absolutely fantastic. It's pretty crazy though. Apparently, the big thing with this movie, you guys have been watching interviews with all the actors doing press and stuff for Avengers Endgame, especially Kevin Feige interviews. They've been saying that well, one, Avengers Endgame isn't the end of Phase 3. Spider-Man Far From Home is the end of Phase 3. So While Endgame was a fantastic bookend to the 10, 11 years of the MCU, the real bookend is going to be Far From Home because especially coming off what happened to Tony and stuff like that, and how close Peter Parker and Tony Stark were. We're obviously seeing the effects of that in this trailer, and uh, I think they're playing that up on purpose because we're gonna go off of that and then see where now we're going forward, especially with the multiverse. I think the multiverse is gonna be a big part of this movie to explain like what the future is gonna hold. I mean, we already know we got our new Captain America, which is going to be dope, and they're probably going to explore that more in that relationship and how Sam's going to deal with that in the Winter Soldier slash Falcon miniseries that's going to be premiering on Disney Plus, which is their new streaming service, out later this year. So that's gonna be cool, but we're still gonna need an Iron Man. I mean, it's like the Marvel universe is always gonna need. There's like several characters that the Marvel universe is always gonna need, just like the DC universe. Like Marvel universe is always gonna have a Captain America. You're always gonna have to have an Iron Man. You're always gonna have a Hulk. There's always gonna have a Wolverine, a Thor. Like those are characters you're always gonna have to have. Now, is Tony Stark always gonna be Iron Man? Is Bruce Banner always gonna be the Hulk? Is Steve Rogers always gonna be Captain America? And so on and so forth. Not necessarily, but someone has to take up that mantle. So I think that's what's going to happen with going forward. Like again, we're going to have a new version of Iron Man. We already got someone taking over the mantle for Captain America, and we're going to have a new someone take up the mantle for Iron Man. Now whether they're going to go off the comics and go Riri Williams, I don't know, or maybe we get like just some other dude, something they've created completely for the MCU that's not out of the realms of possibility. They've done stuff like that um before. So I'm not sure. What I do think would be really cool now with this multiverse, you do all sorts of things, is what if because this trailer is introducing the idea of, I mean, I guess Endgame is technically introducing the idea of the multiverse, but this trailer confirms the idea of the multiverse, and that it's going to be playing a factor if what Mysterio is saying is true, which I think it is. And because with Nick Fury and all that stuff, what if we got another alternate version of Bucky, and in that version, and on his Earth, Captain America gave him the shield, and he was Captain America on his Earth, and he comes over, and we have Bucky Captain America and Sam and Falcon Captain America. Dude, that would be amazing, because that's a way you could hit like all the things in the comic books. Because in the comic books, Captain America, when he was thought dead, Bucky took up the shield for him. Took up the mantle of Captain America. But then in I forget the name of the storyline, but recently, basically, when Captain America lost his powers and got all old in the comic books, he was all like, "Yo, freaking Falcon, you're gonna be the new Captain America," because when he basically sacrificed his life in New York and all that stuff, and after that, Captain America's like, "No, you're worthy. You're worthy. You're now the captain." All like Thor, like it's like, "No, you're worthy. I'm giving you the shield. You're the new Captain America." So they were both, you know, Captain America, and seeing them come head to head would be cool. Either whether working together or even fighting against each other. Either way, I think that would be freaking dope. Freaking dope. It's kind of cool though when you think about it though, like how like Bucky kind of took the cap mantle up in the comics because he had to. Like there had to be Captain America. He wasn't given to him. Cap was dead. He just took it up because he's like, they're all like, there has to be Captain America. You're Captain America. And while, Steve Rogers was still alive and actually gave the mantle of Captain America to Falcon in the comic books, which is kind of cool that they did that in Avengers Endgame. I know I said, I think in my spoiler review of Endgame for Endgame last week, that I wish Cap Bucky would have, or I would have wanted that more. I still think that would have been cool for sure. I mean, I could have gone either way, man. I'm with that, but I don't know. The more I think about it though, because you say stuff and then you have days, whatever. Either or, man. Falcon, has been like so loyal and stuff to Cap in the MCU, and obviously in the comics too. Like they both deserve it. So I feel like either way would work. But I think with this multiverse going on, it's the best way to get the both worlds. So cool. So you know if they do that though, it makes more sense because again, in the comics, Bucky, Steve Rogers gave the shield to Falcon, so that makes more sense for the movie too. So the more I think about it, that actually is more legit. Where the only reason why Bucky took it up is because he died, and that was his best friend and partner, so he took it up out of necessity, essentially. But so that would be dope to be like, because oh my god, that would be really cool. Okay, all right. So I'm kind of like thinking this in my head right now. Okay, so I'm still so what if, like, at the end of Endgame, just like in the comics, Steve Rogers got old, just like in the comics, and in the Endgame, same thing happened. Steve Rogers got old and gave the shield to Falcon. He's like, "Yo, you're Captain America now, right? Dope, awesome." But then in the multiverse now that's introduced, Bucky's all like, "On my world, freaking during after Civil War, after our Civil War, freaking Captain America died. So I took up the mantle, I took up the shield and became Captain America." Dude, that would be so cool. Oh my god. I'm all over it. Oh yes. I love the MCU so much. But yeah, that yes to that, because again, with multiverse and stuff like that, you could do whatever the heck you want. You can make him a good guy, you can make him a bad guy. Yeah, you can get away with all that stuff. But yeah, in summary, guys, I mean, I've been ranting. This trailer looks freaking awesome. I cannot wait to see it, and it's gonna be all sorts of. I think it's a perfect like way. I know that Avengers Endgame was like the perfect bookend, but I think you see now that this movie's dealing a lot with the the after the healing process of Spider-Man and the MCU. I think that's going to be really really cool to see, especially since I'm personally a massive Spider-Man fan. I love Tom Holland as Spider-Man. As you guys know, he's like, you know my second favorite all-time character. It's a Batman and Spider-Man. So I am all for this. I'm all for this. But let's see, I got a super chat here from CJ Garcia. He says multiverse opens up X-Men and Fantastic Four storylines. Maybe, dude, that's what I'm saying. Like anything. But yes, because you can go one or two ways about it. Because they've never mentioned the X-Men or Fantastic Four, so you could they just formed. Like in their origin movie or whatever, they just formed like after the events of all the stuff. Um, Same thing with the X-Men. Or you could even just have them like they were on their own side of the world doing their own things and they just want to get involved with like any of the Avengers missions for X, Y, or Z. You could go that route. But with like to your point, you could also go the route with the multiverse, be like, oh yeah, we're on the Earth we come from, there's mutants and we're called the X-Men. You know what I mean? Like you can do it any way. I think either works. But all I know is, speaking of X-Men and Fantastic Four, I want Fantastic Four movie so bad, but not because I mean, yes, I want the Fantastic Four done right and awesome in the MCU, but mainly because I want their movie. Whenever we get the Fantastic Four, I want it to deal with the coming of Galactus. I want them to just pull from the first, story arc that deals with the Galactus and all that stuff, and have Galactus in there, have his Herald, the Silver Surfer. Oh my god, guys, I want the Silver Surfer and Galactus in the MCU so bad. Like now that we're going cosmic with all this stuff, and they're even referring to Spider-Man going in space. We got Captain Marvel, we got the Guardians of the Galaxy, and Thor's in space. Dude, Silver Surfer and Galactus all the days long. Oh man, I want it. I want it. Oh, man, I think I actually like. Yes, if you were to ask me, who do you want more to be introduced into the MCU first, the X-Men or the Fantastic Four? I'm going to say Fantastic Four purely because I think, Dark Phoenix is coming out later this year. I think we need to give X-Men like a few years off. They'll eventually be brought in. I think we need to give them a few years off. I think Fantastic Four has the since Fan Four Stick, we've already had a little break. So I think we're good enough to reintroduce them again, but mainly because I want I want Johnny Storm and Invisible Woman and Thing and Mr. Fantastic for sure. I want like solid versions of them in the MCU, but more so than that, I want a really good Silver Surfer. I want a really good Doctor Doom. Oh my god, I want a really good Doctor Doom. I want a good Galactus, dude. Yes. And a freaking Kang the Conqueror. My god, and people might make fun of me, but Mole Man, come on, man, that could be freaking funny. It kind of reminds me of the Incredibles, the Miner or whatever. Or I forgot the name of the Incredibles, the Molinator. What's the name of that character? Answer in the comments. The name of that villain in the comment. It's like escaping me. It's the beginning of Incredible. It's the end of Incredibles 1 and the beginning of Incredibles 2 is the name of that character. Does anyone know? Put it in the comments and now I'll read it. The name of that villain in the Incredibles 1 and 2 is at the end of the Underminer. Yes, Kevin C for the win. Comic Core answered second. Oh, everyone's saying Underminer. Yep, Underminer. Kevin C was first though. Good on you. But yes, the Underminer. Mole Man kind of reminds me of that. It's probably a parody off of that because obviously they're basing these off of real comic characters. But I do got some super chats that I want to acknowledge. We got Mac 2 Fletcher Eisler, sorry. Variant Comics equals the best comic book show on YouTube. Thank you so much, sir. First of all, thank you for your generosity and super chat. It's, obviously helps support what I and we do here at the channel. And second, thank you for the kind words, man. I'm just glad that you and everyone here watching likes it because it enables me to do to talk comics with you. So that's, I should be thanking you guys. So thank you. Let's see. We got Justin Johnson right here. Is Pepper Potts going to be rescued? Female Iron Man. Yes. Yes, she is, because on her pop, she has a pop of Pepper Potts in her Iron Man suit or Iron Woman suit, and it says rescue on there. So yes. Yes, yes, yes. That's another thing going forward. Like Pepper Potts is going to be rescued. Dude, that's so dope. Because in the first teaser for Spider-Man Far From Home, we see her Happy Hogan is coming in with Pepper Potts to donate a big check to Peter Parker in his school or whatever with Aunt May. So I hope we see some freaking rescue in what is it? Far From Home. Sorry, I keep wanting to say Homecoming. That's the first one. Travis Burns doesn't say anything, but he does donate $1. He did donate $1. So thank you so much, sir. Thank you for supporting the channel. Much, much appreciated. And I'm glad you like the show. All right. Josh Shizzle 2323, that's an hilarious username, by the way, says, need a big brain Tony is dead, bring in Reed Retro. Oh, I see what you're saying. So basically you're just saying since Tony is dead, we need like another like super smart scientist in the MCU. I agree. I was actually thinking about that when watching the trailer. It's one of the things I was thinking for the new Spider-Man trailer that was released today, was like he's using the Iron Spider suit, but like if any of it breaks in battle or something like that, who's gonna fix it? You know what I mean? Like no one, Tony's not around to fix it or any of that. And just also the tech in general in the MCU is gonna be kind of lacking because, as demonstrated in Endgame, Bruce Banner isn't nearly as smart as Tony Stark is in the MCU. So we need another tech genius in there. And Reed Richards would be the guy to go to. Reed Richards is one of the smartest minds in the entire Marvel universe. So bringing in the Fantastic Four would answer and fill in so many gaps now. So that's another reason to bring in the Fantastic Four soon. And Marvel Studios, please do it. Me and everyone in here watching wants it. We want it. So I know you guys are probably working on it. I love how I'm talking to them as if they're currently watching this right now. I mean, I guess it's a possibility, but it's probably unlikely. All right. With that said, guys, I'm going to Oprah is not a word. I'm going to open this up to questions, to Q&A for a few minutes before I close this out. And as always, super chats will take priority. So if you send a super chat, that is going to guarantee that I answer your question, because if you were nice enough to give some of your hard and earned, I can't talk right now. If you were nice enough to give some of your hard earned money, I have to, be nice enough to answer the question. So yeah, so super chats will take priority, but I will answer random questions that I see until I see a super chat. But let's get to it. Let's see. Dun 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 dun. Hold on. Mad Jack. Let's see. Mad Jack. Black Knight was a curveball for me. Dun dun. That's not a question. I don't know why I read that aloud. Dun dun. Let's see. Rushley reacts. Is Vision coming back? Of course he is coming back. Want to know how I know he's coming back? Because he's got a TV show. He's got a show that's coming up on Disney Plus called WandaVision. So whether that's going to be a prequel, I don't know, but he is coming back in one way or another. So whether it's going to be a prequel or a sequel, I imagine that it's going to be a sequel, because I figure they're going to bring him back somehow without the Mind Stone, and he'll be brought back. But yes, in short, he will be brought back. Okay, Jason Christ says, should they introduce Namor, the Submariner? Yes. Yes, they should. They already hinted to it in Endgame. Koye, when she's on the hologram talking to Black Widow, she's like, yo, there's earthquakes in the Atlantic, but we're just going to ignore it because it's an earthquake underwater. That's a hint to Namor exists. They also hinted to it in a previous Avengers movie or Winter Soldier. I don't remember. They kind of blur together for me now. When I think General Ross brings up a map of all the threats in the world, and the Atlantic was one of the threats. So they've hinted to it at least twice in the MCU. So it's only a matter of time before we get Namor the Submariner in Phase 4, and I'm all about that. I think now that Aquaman proved people want to see underwater movies and superheroes underwater, The MCU is going to do it. So, yes. All right. Mucus the Mouth gives a super chat and he says, because Falcon is becoming the new Cap, how do you think he will operate the shield considering he doesn't have the serum? I'm very, very, very curious about that because, like you said, in the comics, he does not have the serum. But in the movie, I'm wondering if they're going to give it to him. You know what I mean? Like, purely just because of like how this you can do cooler stuff if he had superhuman abilities, right? So I'm very, very curious. I mean, so they could go one route where maybe they give him the super soldier serum, they find it, recreate it somehow, whatever. They give it to him. Now he's a super soldier, which I think would be pretty freaking boss. But they could also make it work where he doesn't have the super soldier, doesn't have the super soldier serum, just like in the comics, and he's just flying around with the shield. But I think you could make it work either way. Personally, it would be more dynamic and visually more pleasing if he had a super soldier serum because he'd be bouncing around, jumping like a superhuman. But with his wings and stuff, you use some freaking cool stuff because Falcon flies and stuff. Imagine him like coming off, like freaking jumping off buildings and stuff like that and chucking it down and all that. But I don't know as far as it like bouncing off and catching it, how he'll be able to do that because he won't have the superhuman reflexes like Cap. So I think if I was to guess, I think they're just going to give him a super soldier serum somehow. But I mean, I'm sure they can make it work either way. But I'm going to guess that they're going to give him a super soldier serum just because, for visually speaking, I think that'll work better. But, I could be wrong. I'm not a filmmaker. I'm sure that they could have ideas to make it work and look just as BA. So that's my 2 cents on that. Let's see. Evan asks, what would you pay for an Infinity Saga box set? What would I pay? I would pay 150. I think so. Infinity Saga box set, meaning every movie from the first Iron Man all the way to Spider-Man Far From Home, because that would be all of phases 1, 2, and 3. So that's 20, what is that, 23 movies? 20, 23, 24 movies? Right? Yeah, it's all right. Let's go in the middle, say it's 23 movies, give or take one. I think that's about right. I mean, it'd probably be more like over 200 though. I don't know if I'd pay 200 for it. I don't know. I mean, maybe, probably. But I have a lot of the movies already is the thing. That's a problem, right? Like most of you, we probably have already a lot of these movies. Like we at least have like like a handful of them. I know I don't have all of them, but I definitely have at least like 8 or 10 of them, not out of the 22, right? Because a lot of them are streaming on Netflix and stuff, and I just haven't bought them because you can stream them on Netflix, Hulu, and all that stuff. And yeah, anyway, so you're pretty much buying it for the special features and any cool inserts and stuff they have. So I think like a 150 is what I would do on it. I think that's fair, unless they included like a crap ton extra, like something super super cool, like I don't know, a statue of like the Infinity Gauntlet or the stones individually, the time or Infinity Stones individually. I don't know, but I would say 150, depending on how cool it is, up to 200. So that's what I would do. Bring that to Disney marketing. All right. Joseph Soto asks, when do you think we will see Galactus? Hopefully phase 4. Hopefully phase 4 is when we see some Galactus. I mean, hopefully phase 3 rather. Sorry. No, yeah, phase 4. Sorry. I'm all over the place. Spider-Man Far Home is the end of phase 3. So phase 4. Hopefully phase 4, towards the middle of phase 4, we see the Fantastic Four. Because I think of Galactus is such a big character. He's pretty freaking way bigger than friggin' like Thanos and all that stuff. So like, he's Galactus. He's this big Galactus freaking. He's the conqueror, the devourer of worlds. So that could be like the big bad at the end of phase 4. So yeah, hopefully phase 4. God, please phase 4. Like I said earlier, Galactus, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom, Kang the Conqueror. There's so many routes you can go, and with freaking Captain Marvel going all cosmic, you're definitely in that direction. You got the Guardians of the Galaxy, you got Captain Marvel. Now you're in space already. Let's do it to it. Let's do it to it, Marvel. Got some more super chats. Dun, 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 dun. G Money 4980 says, "Do you think the thing at MCU Illuminati will appear? Hopefully. I mean, it will have to, like you said, at MCU Illuminati because Tony Stark is done gone. But we got Reed Richards and all that stuff that could be introduced later on. So hopefully, My thinking is we're gonna get a new Avengers because you have to have an Avengers, right? Like Avengers, especially like from a business standpoint, like the Avengers is such a big name for the movies now. You can't just not do Avenger team movies anymore. So my guess is the next Avengers movie is going to be called The New Avengers because that just makes the most sense. We got the New Avengers in comics, and you're not going to call them the West Coast Avengers. No one the frick is going to know what the West Coast Avengers is. I guess you could go with the Mighty Avengers. You could do that version of the team. But I think the one that makes the most sense is the next is the New Avengers. The next Avengers movie that we get. I'm saying it now. It's probably going to be called The New Avengers. I'm calling it now on what's the date? May 6th, 2019. All right. Dun, 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 dun. JJ Manuel asks again. You gave another super chat. Thanks, bro. You ask. I saw a fake Black Panther 2 cover called Two Kings. That's pretty cool. There's lots of fake art going around. I haven't seen that, but that's pretty dope, man. Let's see. We just got another super chat for $5 by Toll Free is his last name or username rather. How do you think Doctor Strange got the Time Stone if he gave it to Thanos? And why wouldn't they use the Time Stone on Tony? Let's see anything. Well, how do you think that? Let me examine this before I answer. How do you think Doctor Strange got the Time Stone? Okay, got it. If he gave it to Thanos, well, that's explaining. He goes back. They all go back in time. They didn't get the Time Stone from. I know he gave it to Thanos, but that's on the snap everything. So that's why they all go back in time to where even before Stephen Strange was Doctor Strange, and they get the Time Stone from the Ancient One. So that answers that part of the question. So they didn't that's that because they went back in time travel, and then they got it from the Ancient One. The second part of the question, and why didn't they use the Time Stone on Tony? Second part is because I guess it takes so. I mean, you saw what it did to Tony. Freaking killed the guy. So I think that they're not gonna. They don't want to keep. They could technically use the Time Stone by itself, like Thanos did in Infinity War to bring back Vision, only to kill him again and take out the Mind Stone. But the real answer is, besides getting all like fictional like comic booky on it, the real answer is they didn't use it because Robert Downey Jr. is done playing Iron Man. That's the real reason. So I'm sure they could have thought of possibilities to bring him back and all that stuff. It's comic books, it's fiction. They definitely could have thought of ways to bring him back. But the real answer is Robert Downey Jr. has been playing this character for a decade. He's getting older, so he's done. So that's why they didn't use it, because he was like, I'm out. I'm not renewing my contract. I am Iron Man. Had a good run. I love you all. Deuces. You know what I mean? And I can't blame him, man. The guy he's been playing the character for 10 years. I'm sure he wants to do other things. He's Iron Man for sure. He always will be Iron Man, but he's an actor. He probably wants to do other types of movies, not just playing Iron Man over and over. And he is getting older, and these superhero movies are hard on the body and stuff like that. Not saying he's like 7-year-old, but you know what I mean. He's I believe he's in his 50s, and he's not like as young as he was 10 years ago. So yeah, that is the real reason for that. He was done playing Iron Man, so they had to basically figure a way to get him out of the movie, and that was the best send off ever, man. I mean, again, spoilers for Endgame, but first 2008 Iron Man literally ends with him saying, I am Iron Man. The last movie of I guess not the last movie of Phase 3, but fast forward 10, 11 years, last movie he's in, his last line ever is, I am Iron Man. And I mean, he went on a high. This movie's gonna make like $3 billion. There's no better time to like go out. It's like freaking Michael Jordan going out after winning like the NBA championship. You know what I mean? It's like it's the best time to go out. It's like when you would want to go out. It's like A-Rod or whatever I'm sure would have loved to go out like winning a championship and all that stuff. That's just the best time. You go out on a high. That way you're remembered at your peak and not at like you're not so peak. Like when MJ came back, he did baseball and all that stuff. He came back and you're like, yeah, it's tainted a little bit. He didn't go out on a high. You know what I'm saying? He didn't go out on his prime. Robert Downey Jr., however, went out on his prime. So yes. Yes. All right, guys, I'm going to answer 2 more questions, and then I'm going to be getting out of here. Richard Jones says, not a question, but he says, plus he was getting expensive. For sure. Yeah, for sure. Plus, passing the torch, all that stuff. I'm sure they got some cool things lined up, or at least fingers crossed. I do know I want to see an Avengers vs. X-Men movie. I said it last week. Oh, man, that could be your next big thing. Avengers vs. X-Men. We get Galactus, Fantastic Four. Yes. I want it. All right, let's see. Let's see. What answer will I or what question will I answer? Dun 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 dun. Gavin Tony says, "How do you feel about Flash season 5?" I'm kind of like, Godspeed was in it, and it was kind of like a letdown. He didn't look that cool. I'm like falling off. I'm falling off of all the CW shows. I already fell off Arrow, DC Legends, Supergirl. Like I loved Flash, and I've been very vocal about that for years. But now I'm starting to like fall off of that too. I'm like, okay, I don't know. It's just not as captivating as it was in prior seasons. I love the up to season 1, 2, and 3, 4. I started falling off at 4. I watched all of 4, but now I'm like 5 episodes behind on the Flash. I'm just like, I don't care that much just because I'm like, it's not, I personally don't think it's all that entertaining currently. So that's unfortunate for me. But I know a lot of you probably agree with me. Like, Arrow's only got one more season left, and apparently a lot of people are leaving Flash next year. So it's clearly the shows are like starting to go on the decline, much like shows like The Walking Dead, which show should have ended seasons ago. I don't know how that thing is still going on. Oh, I did want to answer someone that gave a super chat earlier that I said I would re-answer, and I'm glad I remembered. Swamp Thing trailer. I like the Swamp Thing trailer. I forget your name, but you donated a super chat and you asked me what I think of the Swamp Thing trailer, and I said I would answer it after I talked about Spider-Man trailer. I said trailer a lot just then. Just said it again. I thought it looked really, really cool. I'm very intrigued. I think Swamp Thing, first of all, looks freaking fantastic. Best Swamp Thing we've ever got. The fact that he's practical and he looks so comic accurate, awesome. I love that it's got a horror vibe going on. Very, very cool. Super creepy. I just need to see more of it. The trailer was a little vague. I know they showed some footage, but we didn't get a lot of Swamp Thing in it. We got more of the villain and stuff like that. But overall, I'm definitely going to be watching it, and I'm sure I'll review the first season on here, much like I do with everything. Um, on the DC Universe app and just all shows in general for the most part. But yeah, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking to see more. Hopefully, we get a more in-depth trailer pretty soon here because I think it's coming out this month, right? So I'll probably review the pilot episode. How about that? I'll probably do that. Review the pilot episode whenever that comes out, either here or on a Saturday episode or something like that. All right, BEP gives a super chat. Thank you so much, sir or woman. I don't know if that name is very gender neutral. So thank you very much. Either way, let's see. For you, what might the next Spawn film need for you to take it seriously moving forward, considering everything you've seen thus far in the movies? I grew up on the first Spawn movie, and because of that, I love it. I know it's not a good movie. I know but I got that nostalgia to it. I remember seeing it in New York City. I was on vacation for summer in New York. I believe my aunt took me to see it, and I loved it. I got the Spawn action figures, right after that, I believe. I'm a fan of it just because of nostalgia's sake. I recognize it's not the best movie in the world. And it didn't do that good in theaters even at the time, but I like it, and I'm a huge Spawn fan. As for this new movie, I think what Todd McFarlane's doing with it seems pretty cool and pretty interesting. It's going to be a hard R. Apparently, he describes it as Spawn's going to be like more like Jaws, where you don't see him that much. He's going to pop up out of the shadows and go right back into the shadows when he needs to be. It's going to be more about like Twitch and like the cops from the uh, Spawn universe. So I think, to your question, what do they have to do going to take it seriously? I think kind of just that. I think you nailed it on the head because it's kind of, it's another market. We got Marvel and you got Marvel doing the poppy fun stuff for like all ages. You got DC that's kind of going that way now too, as of like, Shazam and Aquaman. They're kind of going that way because, DC and Marvel, are generally known to be for all ages, even though they have a lot of harder stories, the comic book storylines. But you know what I mean? It's DC and Marvel. But I think this is clever for this property for Topic Fronts to go dark with because it's like, again, like most DC comics and most Marvel comics are for they're like rated teen. You know what I mean? They don't often go hard R. They do. You got stories like the Killing Joke and stuff like that for sure. But as the most part, they're like teen. They're right in the middle, like PG-13. Other comics, if their comics were movies, they'd pretty much all be PG-13, minus your exceptions like the Killing Joke and stuff like that here and there, as far as DC and Marvel are concerned. But with Spawn, that's always been like a hard book, man. Like a rated R hard book, a rated R book. Like I remember one of the first issues in the Spawn run is like it deals with like a rapist and all that stuff. So I think this is perfect to have like a character, a superhero that you don't really see much, because like I know for me, like in horror movies and monster movies, the things that I like the most, or the ones I like the most, is when you don't see the monster or creature or whatever that much, because your imagination is always going to be infinitely cooler. The unknown is always going to be infinitely more scary and cooler than what you see, no matter how cool the design is. You know what I mean? Because you could, that's why people say the books, the novels were always better than the movies, because you're like they're never going to be able to capture what you were thinking in your head. Like when I was reading like Harry Potter or whatever, it's gonna what I'm envisioning in my head is probably gonna be a little different than when you're envisioning in your head. So that's why people say that, because you can do whatever you want with your imagination, so it doesn't hit all the time when they transfer it into movies, because that's not what you envision and you like what you envision more. So that's why some people have gripes with that. But with that said, I think that's a really cool approach. It's kind of making like a R horror superhero movie, which is really cool. And I hope you got some Jeremy Renners attached. Freaking Jimmy Fox is playing Spawn. So I'm all in, man. I am all in, and I hope I answered your question. I just kind of went on a rant there, but that's my thoughts on that. Oh, and I got a super chat here. I got two super chats here. I got one from Super Honda Fit Driver. Why is Captain Marvel always binary in the MCU? Because she's flying through Chitauri warships, and you need to be binary to do that, unless you're the Hulk in the first Avengers, and you could just smash it with your fist. Which brings me back. I know this is not going to your question, but brings me back to how are you going to go from being the Hulk's going to go so strong he can freaking punch down a Chitauri warship with a single punch, to like his arm not healing like a week later in Avengers Endgame. Like, what, bro? Anyway, why she always got to be binary? I mean, in this case, in the two cases we saw her in her movie, because she needed the wreck shop and it just looks cool. Who wouldn't want to see that, I guess. And I guess they're just trying to prove and show us that like she's the most powerful character. So boom, binary. And then in Endgame, she's facing Chitauri warships and like all of Thanos' army and Thanos himself, and trying to take the Infinity Gauntlet from him. So she had to go binary, because that's a lot of power he had. So I hope that answers your question, but I sense the sarcasm. So I hear you and I feel you. Slushy gives a super generous super chat. Thank you very much, sir, or ma'am. But dude, that first of all, now I want a slushie. I love me some slushies. Little known fact about Arris here: every time I go to the movie theater, I have to have a slushie. Like I always get a slushie, half red, half blue, so half cherry, half blueberry. I have them mix it, and then popcorn. Have to. It's a thing that I have to do. I'm going to see Detective Pikachu this Thursday, and I'm going to get a slushie, half red, half blue, with popcorn. So I appreciate your your name. Although it does piss me off that I can go to 7-Eleven and literally get the same exact slushie, the same like large size for like $1.50, but at the theater I have to pay like $6 for it. That's neither here nor there. Neither here nor there. Anyway, Slushy asks, love the channel. Do you see Marvel doing Secret Wars in the MCU eventually? Yeah. If they keep going, if they do another 22 movies, for sure. I think they could. I think that the two big ones for me right now, and I think are the fan theories in general that make the most sense, is doing Secret Wars or doing Avengers versus X-Men. I think Avengers versus X-Men is probably a little more plausible. Okay, I'm not gonna say more plausible. I think it would fit more, considering if you're gonna introduce the X-Men, you could kind of have them be like almost like not villains, but they clash with the Avengers at first, because they do things differently, even though they're all trying to go towards the same goal. But the mutants and the X-Men can go off to like, yeah, but people look down at us and stuff like this. You just have a real cool clash with that, almost kind of like a Civil War type thing, but make that like a huge arc in the MCU. But Secret Wars could definitely work. I'd be down for that. You know what I mean? Seeing all our heroes go to another planet again and fighting and all that good stuff. So it could happen. I think my vote would be Secret Wars or Avengers versus X-Men, but the Secret Wars could definitely be a thing, although it'd have to be drastically different considering the state of the MC right now. But again, we don't know what it's going to look like 10 movies from now, and that's like a long, that would be like literally like an end cap of like a phase or a saga, because Secret Wars is huge. They would have to be setting that up for movies and all that fun stuff. But yeah, hope that answers your question, and thank you so much, man, for the super generous super chat. We definitely appreciate it. Again, it's people like you that let us do what we do, to rant and talk about these fictional characters each and every week. All right, one more super chat, last question, guys, and I am getting out of here. Oh, it's not even a question. He just donated $1. So thank you so much for that, sir. Oh, nope, we got one more. I almost missed it. My bad. School Knight says, "Do you see Galactus as the next big villain in the MCU?" So you, my friend, well, first, thank you for the super chat. Second, you probably didn't hear my rant earlier. Yes, I do. I think that could be another. Uh, I think that could be a nice way to end this next coming saga or phase for the MCU to have Galactus as the big bad, because you could slowly introduce Silver Surfer, and then you could eventually have Silver Surfer turn on him by the end and have him fight against Galactus. All that cool stuff, all that super cool stuff. And yes, so I hope the Fantastic Four become a big part of Phase 4 in that way, and or even they can go. There's so many ways you can go, especially with the multiverse stuff now. We can get Avengers vs X-Men. We can get Galactus as the Fantastic Four being the next big thing. As Slushy said earlier, we can get the freaking secret wars going on where all the heroes go to another planet and they're forced to fight there and prove their worth and all that stuff. There's so many things they could do. I could sit here and just theorize with you guys for hours and days on end, because it's like now, especially with the multiverse thing now, and the fact that they have X-Men and Fantastic Four, there's just they could do any guys. I say it all the time. I say it all the time. This is the best time to be a nerd. It's just great. Now I just hope, I mean they're starting to, but I hope DC continues to follow suit, and that the last several movies have been good. Shazam was good, Aquaman was good. So they're going in that right direction. So here's hoping they follow and we get some solid movies. Joker looks fantastic too. That Joker movie looks so good. I know it's not the DCU, but dang, that Joker movie looks so freaking good. All right, Courtney X, thank you for the super chat, sir. I highly appreciate that. You were very, very kind. And let's see, the Satana Life, thank you for your super chat as well. Thank you guys again. It's all of you guys that are generous, and even more so than donating, like give your time, because your time is the most valuable thing you can give. So to watch me on your phone or your TV or wherever, your computer or whatever, and give up minutes or hours of your day when you could be watching other stuff. I greatly, and we greatly appreciate that. Team Variant appreciates that, because again, it's only because of you guys that we could do what we do. So as long as you keep watching, we'll keep putting out some cool content. Speaking of some cool content, tomorrow, I'm about to wrap this up here, guys. Tomorrow we're going to be putting up an episode with John Boy Myers. If you don't know who John Boy Myers is, he's a cover artist for DC Comics. He's worked on several issues with Spawn. We've had him on the show before. He's did Royals for the Inhumans for Marvel. He's done tons of comic book work. He did Teen Titans. He launched Teen Titans Rebirth for DC. Tons of stuff. Worked in a bunch of video games. Like, the guy's worked on everything. Fantastic artist. Anyway, I was able to sit down and chat with him. He's a buddy of mine, and we're going to be doing an awesome giveaway with him tomorrow. Give away some of his original art, as well as chat with him about Spawn, Teen Titans, and the comic book industry in general. It's going to be about a 20-ish 20-ish, 25-minute video, and we're just talking about the comic industry, his work on Teen Titans and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be up tomorrow, and then later this week we're going to put an episode up on how Falcon became Captain America in the comics, and then this weekend I will be reviewing Detective Pikachu, because I love Pokemon. I don't follow it as much anymore, but I loved it growing up. And I know it's not necessarily a comic book, but the movie's coming out. It looks awesome, so it's a nice little breakout. Talk about some Detective Pikachu, because I'm sure you guys are gonna go see it too. Another nerdy movie, Pokemon. It's awesome. Was a huge fan of Pokemon growing up. Had all the cards and stuff like that. So I want to see it. Little kid of me wants to see it. They said it's awesome. Ryan Reynolds is in it. Deadpool is Pikachu. So I'm down for it. I'm gonna give you my thoughts on Saturday. But with that said, you lovely, lovely people, I am going to end this, and hopefully you guys will see my face in the next episode on Wednesday or Thursday. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.